Welcome to Season 2 of the Chair 9 podcast. This winter, we will be celebrating 75 years of skiing and riding here at Dodge Ridge. We're going to share some never-before-heard stories from this legendary mountain we call home. Boot up, click in, and get ready to take a ride on Chair 9. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Chair 9 podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Patrick and Jennifer Rapp, who have been involved in Dodge Ridge history for a while now. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves and kind of talk about your ties to the mountain.
Jennifer Rapp. I have been skiing here at Dodge for 48 years.
Okay.
I had never skied in my life, and I bought a season pass before I'd ever put on a pair of skis.
Wow.
I used to have breakfast at with the Happy Cookie, and a friend said, buy a season pass, and then you'll at least ski enough days to make the pass pay for itself, and then you'll know if you want to ski or not. So I came up, I did midweek lessons, and ended up getting privates because it was so slow at a group rate. So that was my introduction to skiing.
Okay.
And he wouldn't be here had that not happened because I met his father here.
Okay.
Ted was a ski racer.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I started skiing here when I was 3, so I've been 38 or 39 years now. Raced for about 10 years, worked patrol 1 year. Now that they have the summer activities, I'm up here year-round, disc during the summer, ski during the winter.
There you go. Yeah, I see the disc golf sunglasses you got on. Big disc golf fan. How's the course up here in the summertime?
The upper course is one of my all-time favorite courses. Okay. It's very challenging, but...
I haven't played it. I haven't divulged, but I think a lot of people, we just started the summer activities a few years ago. I don't think they realize yet that there is summer activities up here. So I think that's great. So perfect. You say you met Ted here. Can you walk us through that story of how you met him and, how that progressed?
I sure can. I was your first ski hostess.
Okay.
Up here. And my job basically was to ride the chairlift with the paid customer and give Frank Helm feedback on how people liked the mountain. I could ski with anybody that I wanted to. It was the best job ever. And they had me work the top of the race. We used to set up a race course right here on 1.
Okay.
It was the Coors Challenge race. And I called the people up. So, you're up, you're on deck, you're in the hole. And I'd watch him ski down. He was pretty cute.
Yeah.
Thought, I have to meet that guy.
Good skier? Good form?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes, that's where he gets his...
Okay, that's where he gets his form.
Yeah, I just make pretty little old lady turns down the hill. Fine by me. But that's how I met his dad. He was racing, I was working the race.
Okay.
So Dodge Ridge really dictated my entire future.
Did you have a pickup line, or did you just, at the end of the day go up to him? What was that like?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He did not ask me out.
No. Okay. So you made the first move.
I did.
Okay.
We used to all have lunch together, the skiers and us in the cafeteria. And the end of the season was upon us. He lived in Modesto.
Okay.
And I said, I have to go down to the mall. Maybe we could have dinner after you get off work. That was how we had our first date.
There you go. You went to the mall in Modesto then?
Oh, that was an expensive first date for me.
Yeah. And the rest is history.
The rest is history, yep.
Perfect. Well, Patrick, you talk about how you were involved, you worked patrol, and then when you were a kid, you also were a part of the race team here. Can you kind of talk about that and your history on the race team?
Yeah, it was awesome growing up, getting to do that. Like now I can ski wherever I want and have fun. Racing was a ton of fun. I wish they still had the course on Chair 1 that we could run gates on. I definitely appreciate Heidi's race at the end of every year now, so I get to run gates at least once a year.
There you
go. But yeah, I miss it. It's tough too though, because you're every weekend all winter, so your social life is not the same as your friends, but worth it in the end.
So you talk about how you were on the race team, not much social life. How many years were you competing, and did you have a lack of social life on the weekends due to the race team?
I think I competed 10 years. I want to say I started in 92 and I stopped in 2002.
Okay.
Which I would have loved to keep going, but after 18, it becomes prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's part of why now we do a scholarship for the race team kids every year, because, we weren't rich growing up and know what it's like trying to afford it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I got to get more laps than most people, going through the ski school line, and got to go do some fun stuff. Had some good coaches. One of the coolest things I remember seeing was Corey Perry jumping over Coyote Trail into the out of bounds zone off the cliff.
Okay.
Which I don't know.
Corey
I've never
went for
heard of
it.
anyone else doing that.
Yeah, fair enough. Corey went for it. I hear that Corey and Johnny Cashman, they used to go by Huck and Chuck.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
that kind of goes into
No,
it.
they were, those were my main two coaches, and both were really good guys. Both really good skiers. Obviously, John's kid is an Olympian, so that tells you something.
No, absolutely. So are you still in contact with some of the people that you raced with and or the coaches, Corey and John?
I see Corey up here. I don't see John too much. I think I saw him maybe 3-4 years ago, but no, as far as people I raced with, there really aren't too many of them around anymore.
We see Nathan Norbeck.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do ski with Nathan Norbeck regularly, but he was I was trying to think of people my age. He was a couple years younger.
Oh, okay, younger. Gotcha.
But yeah, he's still around, and him and I ski together pretty regularly.
Nice.
Although we haven't this year.
The things they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the people that I raced, well, not most, a lot of the people I raced with were from the Valley or the Bay Area.
Okay.
So, I never became friends with them really other than wall skiing.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And how about you, Jennifer? Did you establish any friendships with some of the other mothers that you're still in contact with today, or?
Yeah, one, Kathy Gibson, her son Robbie. He was my son Bobby's age. We used to call it the Robbie Bobby Show.
Okay.
And we traveled to races together. We stayed in Motel 6s together, Robbie and Bobby in one bed, Kathy and I in another.
Okay.
We brought our ramen cup of noodles and heated up water, and you had to learn how to do it on the cheap because it is expensive.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the traveling is expensive.
I remember one time I decided I wanted my own bedroom, so I slept in a closet.
Okay. Wow.
He did.
You were just ready to have that sort of independence, or?
Privacy.
Yeah, a little privacy. That's funny. So you talk about your son, Bobby. You had another son as well. Can you kind of walk us through that story? And, it sounds like he competed as well on the race team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was on the race team. When we had the Pinecrest Invitational, Bobby ended up being taller than Patrick.
Okay.
And we got down to skiing for first and second place. It was Patrick and Bobby.
For first and second?
Yes, the Pinecrest Invitational. And a parent asked me, who are you rooting for? I said, I'm rooting for Pat. There'll be no living with Bobby if he beats his brother. And I mean, Patrick just beat him. He just took him. I'm like, oh, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Bobby definitely ended up being better than I was in the long run.
Okay. Was Bobby older or younger than you?
Younger.
2 years younger.
2 years younger.
2 years
Okay.
younger. That's why if he had
ended up being better.
Yeah.
Gotcha. If he had beat him, then you would never hear the end of it.
Yeah. It would have been horrible to live with at home.
Yeah.
So, no, he was.
Do they still do the Pinecrest Invitational?
I think so. All the schools come up and compete every year, I believe. So yeah, they still got that going on, which was cool. I grew up going to Soulsbyville and coming up here, but I never competed in the Pinecrest Invitational. So, but I did compete. I remember I used to do cross country, and you guys had the Bobby Rapp Invitational at Sonora Elementary School.
Oh, yes.
The cross country race.
Right.
And so I believe that I placed top 5 in one of them, but don't quote me on it, but I do remember going out to Sonora and competing in that. So that was cool. So
I used to run cross country as well.
Okay.
And the way I got into it was kind of funny. I think it was 5th grade. They give you a list of sports you can sign up for.
Yeah.
And I saw cross country and I'm like, oh, skiing.
Okay.
And I show up for practice. I'm like, how are we going to ski? It's like, we're at the school. And then they're like, okay, so we're going to start running. It's like, running?
Yeah. This is not what I signed up for.
I ended up being pretty good at it, and it worked out.
I've never heard that story
Really?
before.
That's funny.
That's the first time I've heard that, Patrick.
Did Bobby also compete in cross country then, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, he did. Yeah, it was really very touching when Frank and Frank decided to name the run after Bobby.
Yeah.
It was Bobby had written a letter in case he was killed. He was a soldier in Afghanistan.
Gotcha.
And it just means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Judy called us, and
Judy?
No, it was Sally. I'm sorry.
No,
I knew
you're
Judy
good.
too.
You're okay.
And I think Judy had passed by then.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, we got a phone call from the Helms. And I mean, the day after it was known. And that was the first thing that they said was, Frank wants to name a run for Bobby.
Okay.
And they were so sweet. I said, well, he loved the shots. You know, that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
They said, nope, not enough people will see it.
Gotcha.
So, you know, that's what this community is. When you've lived up here for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Frank was in the hospital when he had Guillain-Barré. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
You know, we thought we were going to lose him.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how touching it was to Frank that both of my kids made little cards.
Yeah.
And we got the cards to Frank in the hospital. And, you know, you just don't know when something is going to touch a person's heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have deep roots here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deep roots here.
Well, so Frank and Sally were great, you know, doing the run originally, and then Carl and Audrey put up that nice plaque.
Oh, they did.
So we've had,
Yeah.
you know, both owners taking
Involved.
care of Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard one of us, I don't remember if it was you or me, you hear people talk and they say, you know, oh, who's Bobby? Oh, somebody who used to work here. So the plaque up there definitely helps. Oh, that was the young man we gave the scholarship to
Oh, okay.
this year. He said he just thought Bobby was somebody that used to work up here. And then he
Gotcha.
read the plaque.
Okay. And
And
then
it
it gave
was
more
interest-
context.
And it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, people understand that there was, you know, a real human being there. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about the scholarship that this young man received. How did you guys kind of establish that? And can you give the audience a little bit of information behind what that scholarship involves, what it entails?
In Bobby's will, he left $10,000 to the Dodge Ridge race team.
Okay.
He left other monies to other sports he was involved in, but he left more to Dodge Ridge race team than any other sport.
Okay.
Which,
I'm assuming it was pretty important to him then.
well,
Yeah, and I
that's
think
that.
he left, what, like 1,000 or 2,000 to
About-
the cross-country team
Yeah.
versus 10,000
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
race
A couple
team.
thousand to Sonora Elementary, a couple thousand to the high school, but 10,000 to the race team.
Okay.
And we knew that they needed a starting tent, so we were thinking that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank actually said, you know, if you give a scholarship, his name will be known longer.
Yeah.
I mean, heart. There's
Yeah.
just heart there. And so we donated half of that money, $5,000 to the race team, and they did buy a starting tent.
Okay.
And the other, we just gave out as scholarships. And once that money was gone, Patrick and I have just kept doing that.
Kept doing it. That's pretty
Yeah.
special.
It was through like a charity organization originally,
Okay.
but they just made it so difficult to give it out.
They
Really?
did.
It was
Yeah.
practically impossible to give people money. So we finally just one year were like, okay, whatever's left in the account, give to the person this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so that person got a very nice scholarship.
Gotcha.
And then from there, we just
Took it over.
give
did
it to them
Yeah.
ourselves. So we don't have to, you know, it's like they don't have to meet these 30 criteria. We can just be like, hey, yeah, we like you. It seems like you could use the money.
Gotcha. So how would somebody go about applying, and what's the age range of, is it just anybody on the race team can apply for it, or?
Race team or, you know, the dash team or the
Okay.
free ride team.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We
Would-
like the race team more, but, but we'll give it to anyone.
Okay.
The coaches announce it.
Okay.
And all
Perfect.
they have to do is just write just a little paragraph. Why do you like to ski?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's really quite touching, some of the letters that the kids write, and the
Yeah.
kids write them. It's
Yeah.
not the parents saying,
This is why my kid deserves
Yeah.
this. It's okay.
yeah. This year we did have one of the parents wrote, and then the skier wrote,
Okay.
you know, and that was very interesting to watch see
The
the two
disparity.
different perspectives.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So that's really neat. I work with, and I'm close friends with, Owen Bartholow, and
Oh,
he
okay.
received your guys'
Yes.
the
Yeah.
scholarship
Yes, he
at some
did.
point. So
That's the year I worked patrol, he was still very little, and I remember him at like 4 or 5 years old dropping cliffs.
yeah, he's still dropping cliffs to this day and working park crew and doing
Yeah,
really
I
well.
like Owen.
So
He's a good guy.
yeah, it's cool to see that. That must have inspired him getting that to stay in the ski industry and continue down that path. So I think it's a really cool thing that you guys are doing with that. So can you go in a little deeper into Bobby's service?
Yes. There's not a day I can remember that Bobby didn't want to be a soldier.
Okay.
Even growing up, he wanted to be a few other things. He wanted to have a reptile pet store,
Okay.
but the other things went to the side. He always wanted to be a soldier. It was a part of his being.
Okay.
It was a part of his being. He actually checked out of Sonora High and finished his last semester of high school through Ted Bird.
Okay.
He finished his last semester in 3 weeks so that he could enlist. And I don't exactly know how he ended up in the airborne.
Okay.
You know, I guess maybe the Army put him there. I don't recall that part.
Yeah.
But he was 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
He was based in North Carolina. His first deployment was Iraq. And he lost his roommate on the first day of the first deployment there.
Wow.
And I didn't know that until after he was home back in the States. And that's how I knew he had grown up. He didn't worry his mother. Whenever he called or wrote, no mention of what had happened.
Okay.
And then he was in Afghanistan for what, about a year? And they
It
extended.
might have been longer.
Well, it ended up being longer. At about a year, they extended the tour.
Okay.
And he was killed. It was the person who was working the gate where, what would you call it, the area where they were stayed. Their
Like compound, I guess.
Yeah.
And the base.
Base,
that
But
okay.
it was not it was definitely a site built, like
yeah.
not like a real structure necessarily.
They call
Gotcha.
them forward operating bases.
Okay.
So the person that worked the gate ended up being a Taliban infiltrate, and he
Okay.
opened the gate for a truck that was filled with explosives, and it was a suicide mission for the truck. They just drove it straight into the building where Bobby was. I'm trying to remember how many soldiers died.
Yeah, I was
it
gonna
just the
ask.
two?
Just two.
Just,
Two. Okay.
But I
yeah,
mean,
two
I-
died, but 13 of them were
Yeah,
injured,
they-
and then
a
a
lot of
simultaneous
injuries.
attack.
Okay.
So they couldn't even get to Bobby to try to help him
Gotcha.
to see if he could have been saved.
Okay.
Because
How soon after did you find out, and what is that process like?
They come to your door. I wasn't home. I was at work. I was a nurse at Sonora Regional.
Okay.
And I got off work at 7:30. When I came home, there was a car in the driveway. And I thought, oh, somebody's here visiting Ted, because they came in an unmarked civilian car. And I'd had my first, very best day in the ICU, where I'd just done everything on my own. I hadn't had to ask for help. I was so excited to come home and tell Ted about this wonderful day. And I opened the door to the house, and Ted was standing up, and I've never seen such a stricken look. I couldn't even think what could have happened that would be that horrible. My mind just went blank. And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw a pair of green slacks, and I knew it was Army, and I knew Bobby was gone. Yeah, they sent an officer and a chaplain. Yeah, and they come and tell you personally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, hard day.
Yeah, very hard. Very hard. So I've never experienced anything like that. I have some family members that were, in the service, but yeah, I'd imagine that's very difficult to process, and
And Patrick was out on a
I was
backpacking.
snowshoe backpacking.
Oh, now talk about your community coming together. I didn't know how to contact them. And how did we end up getting a hold of you?
We
Was that
didn't have
Kelly's
cell
sister?
service for the most part,
Yeah.
but I ended up getting randomly found a pocket of service and had a voicemail.
I think that said call home.
Yeah, well, it said something terrible has happened to the family or something like that.
There's been a tragedy. That's what I said. But that was horrible for me too, to not
be able to,
get
yeah.
a hold of Patrick. Right
No,
away.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'd mentioned the guy Kelly Simmons earlier. He lived I think he was living in Tahoe at the time, and we were snowshoe backpacking off of 88. And they sent Kelly out because he knew the trailhead we left on. And we ended up meeting him like maybe a quarter of the way back to the highway,
Okay.
which was great because, I was kind of distraught and we had heavy gear. So we had another person to help carry gear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I was surprised he was able to find us because we weren't really, there was kind of a trail, but
Yeah. Out in the wilderness, and no cell service, it's a little difficult to find you. So
That's what I call God working for you.
yeah, absolutely.
Comes through when you need him.
Yeah. So you talk about Bobby, and you mentioned that he always wanted to be a soldier. Do you know where he got that motivation from? Was there a history of other family members being in the service, or do you know what kind of motivated him to choose that path?
I don't know if it was because my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather, they all served.
Okay.
I think 9/11 was really what happened.
Okay.
I think that was the catalyst.
Yeah, I don't recall him ever mentioning wanting to be a soldier before 9/11.
Okay.
He had all those little Army guys, and yeah. But yeah, 9/11 was the catalyst.
Really motivated him,
Yeah.
which seems like it was, the case for a lot of individuals.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, really brave to, feel that call to action and then not only just feel it, but to act upon it. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
So you talk about on the race team, you traveled all these different mountains, and Dodge certainly isn't the biggest of any of these mountains. You go and see some of the terrain in other places and the people who make that run. It's a much smaller community here at Dodge. How does that small community, when a tragedy happens like this, what was it like to experience that community come together for you?
It was just amazing. That was a time for me where I couldn't make decisions. Things had to be done. And everything that we needed was done. There's chores of death. And this community, the community of Sonora, everything was taken care of for us. And up here, like I said, getting that phone call the very next morning, we're going to name a run for Bobby.
Yep.
All of the race team members, anybody I'd ever worked with up here, everybody.
Reaching out and supporting.
And his service, there were over 1,000 people at his service. We had it at Sarah Bible Church.
Gotcha.
And they had to put up bleachers on the outside of the church. We could not fit everybody inside the church.
Wow, that's a huge turnout.
It is. So it speaks of this whole mountain community up here.
Well, and they had the parade that ran through the entire
The
town.
processional, yes.
Yes. Parade might not be the right word.
No, it's not the right word. It was a large processional.
All of downtown Sonora was lined with people.
Okay.
It was.
Sonora Elementary let their kids come out and stand on the side of the road.
Oh, they all had little flags because we drove past Sonora Elementary to go out to the cemetery.
Okay.
And the teachers there, there were some substitutes, and they would take over a class, and some of the teachers came to the funeral. Some of the teachers came to the what do you call the after part? They came afterwards. Some of them were in the processional. Some of them went to out to the cemetery. They were able to rotate the substitutes where all the teachers that
were
Bobby had were able to participate in some part of his day that we laid him to rest.
That's huge. That's big.
And the Sonora Police and CHP closing the roads. It was a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure in that time too, you had people sharing stories that, maybe you had never heard about Bobby or didn't realize that these people had been, touched by Bobby in a certain way. So what was that like?
Well, some of it's a good thing he had died.
Before
things
these
about
stories.
my son that I should have never heard.
Gotcha.
He was a rascal. Okay?
Gotcha.
He was a rascal, and he pushed the limits.
Yeah.
I can't remember the specifics. Do you remember any stories that?
I don't remember any specific stories at this point.
Yeah.
It's been, what is it? What have we?
More than 15 years.
18 years.
18 years now.
18 years.
Gotcha.
He's been gone. That's a long time. But yeah, it was fun. And, every once in a while, still a little something comes out and you go, Bobby. It's interesting because he grew up into a man in the Army.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see that firsthand.
Gotcha.
The things that the soldiers said about him, it was just impressive to me. And we went back to North Carolina for his military service. And I asked his platoon if they would write something about Bobby. And oh my gosh, the things they wrote, I realized he really grew into such an honorable man.
Yeah.
And it's hard that I didn't get to live and see that as it happened. But, that helped my heart.
Fair enough.
That helped my heart.
That's great. You talk about, other people saying things about Bobby. I want to ask both of you, if you were to, share with the audience or anybody something about Bobby, how would you like him to be remembered?
Bobby had a heart of gold.
Okay.
He would give you the shirt off his back. He would do anything for you. He really had a heart of gold. He was a rascal, but he had a heart of gold.
And Patrick, the same question to you.
When I lived in Reno, I'd come back and visit pretty regularly. That's when I was my first year of college. And I crashed my motorcycle like a mile from our house here in Sonora one time on my way back to Reno.
Okay.
And Bobby happened to be home and ended up driving me back to Reno. And he refused to take my bed. He's like, I'll just sleep on the floor. I'm in the Army. I can sleep anywhere. And it's like, you just drove me here. You got to drive back in the morning. Take the bed.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do it.
Refused.
Like, drove me there, wouldn't take a bed.
Slept on the floor and drove back home the next day. That's a good brother. And I think that goes to show, like you said, that he'd give you the shirt off his back. He'd sleep on the floor for you, even though, he had the trek the next morning. So
He was a very generous boyfriend, too.
Okay.
He always had a girlfriend from 5th grade on. And I remember in 6th grade, he wanted to get his little girlfriend a diamond ring. And I said, Bobby, honey, it was a little diamond. It was $95, but it's a little bit much for your 6th grade girlfriend. But that's how he was, He just liked that girl. And so we got her a little charm for a necklace.
There you go. That's nice.
But that's kind of how he was. He was very generous.
Yeah.
And he worked. Both of my boys worked. They had their own money. And
Okay.
they had to help pay for the race team.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And they're both really good boys.
Could you guys maybe share some of your favorite stories of Bobby at the resort, or, give some more background on some of your favorite stories of him?
Oh, gosh.
I'm sure there's many.
We used to go off the shots and build a little kicker and just do laps doing jumps.
Okay.
That's racing. Him and I were age-wise, even though it's only 2 years, that's far enough apart that, we weren't really like friends on the race team. He had his group, I had my group. But after race team, we skied together a little bit.
Okay.
I moved out of towns to go to college, so I didn't get to ski with him as much as I would have liked. But he skied a lot with my friend Kelly Simmons, who grew up around here. They have some good stories.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I remember the first time when Bobby complained about having to wait for me at the chairlift.
Okay.
And I said, son, I have waited many years for you down here. Get used to waiting for me.
Yeah. There
The
you go.
roles have reversed. I have a cute little video of Bobby when he's little, like 5, traversing chair 1. And he's got his little glove in his mouth and his hand, because no poles. And he's just skiing like this, across, humming a little hum. It's all the classic little kids stories.
Yeah, fair enough.
And when I worked up here, I worked several places. I was your ski hostess. I sold tickets when the ticket booth was up in the parking lot.
Okay.
And both the boys used to come and warm up in there. We had a little heater. They just sit on the floor.
Perks of having your mom work at the ski resort.
Yep. I worked the front office when it was where the sports shop is now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Seen lots of remodeling.
A lot of change,
A lot of change, yeah. A lot of
I
change.
do recall being cold a lot on the race team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gear has come a long way.
Fair enough.
When Bobby stopped the race team before Patrick.
Okay.
One day after a race in Tahoe, he's in his downhill suit and it's snowing. Gets to the bottom and goes, Mom, do I have to do this? I said, no, you do not. You only race as long as it's fun.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's a good message.
Speaking of downhill suits and being cold, I went a different route. Instead of saying, do I have to do this? I remember a race at Mammoth where it was just horribly windy, horribly cold. I dug a little hole just big enough to curl up into, threw my jacket on top of it, and was like, come yell at me when it's my turn.
There you go. Hunkered down and got ready for your race. So.
Well, the jackets used to get skied down after the races were over. John Cashman would look like a pack animal with all the jackets. So Bobby's at the bottom in this downhill suit. It's snowing, and I offer him my jacket. I have 2 jackets. No, I'm not going to wear that girly thing. That lasted about 1 minute. Mom, can I have your jacket?
That's pretty funny.
So, he might have been a little macho, but he was smart.
Ego goes out the window when you get cold enough.
Yeah,
so.
those downhill suits, there's not much to them. So, yeah.
Well, with the naming of Bobby's run, was there an event? Did they host like a ceremony for that? Or can you kind of walk us through? You say that Frank and Sally gave you a call and said that they wanted to name a run after him. You talk about how they wanted it to be seen by a lot of people. And then just a few years ago, the plaque got added. Was there a process for that? Was there a ceremony?
There was a ceremony, and I believe it was
in the family lodge.
And weren't they dedicating the lodge also?
I don't recall if that was the case.
Yeah, but it was in the family lodge.
Okay.
Yeah, they had the trail sign in the lodge.
Gotcha.
They hadn't mounted it yet.
Yeah, it was a very nice dedication to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I like Bobby's freedom run. I think it's a great run. You know, it ties you back into the bottom of 7. And yeah, I mean, it does get a lot of traffic. So that's pretty neat that they considered that and wanted it to be seen. So, but.
And it has the best knoll on the mountain.
Yeah, where's the knoll at? Oh, the knoll coming. Okay,
Where
yeah,
the flume
yeah,
comes in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That is a pretty nice knoll, and I think honestly, it's the trees tucked into the side of it. That's not super well known. I think as far as people go to the shots to get fresh powder, but on a good day, there's quite a bit of powder stash alongside of it.
It's a great powder run.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So
it does need to get a little deeper though.
Yeah,
I feel like you need minimum 3-4 feet of snow to really be able to ski that.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's
we
great.
will get that. It will come.
It is coming. Yeah,
Yes,
hopefully
come.
soon. So
it always does. The shortest season they ever had up here was 35 days, and I still got 13 days in.
There you go. That's pretty good. So did Ted work up here at all, or no?
Yes, he was an instructor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he was a race coach.
And he was an instructor before though.
Okay.
Before you were born, he was an instructor.
That's a couple years that I raced. He was one of the coaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So great family activity. Like you guys said, deep roots up here. So yeah,
it's the perfect sport for a parent because you go to these races and the kids have a coach and we get to ski other resorts. All you have to do is zoom in, watch your kid, and you're back out skiing.
There you go. Yeah, that is pretty great.
It's really pretty great. Yeah.
Good family activity. So
it is. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, thank you both for, being willing to sit down and share Bobby's story. I'm sure it's, not the easiest thing to do. But yeah, really appreciate you guys sitting down and chatting. And yeah, if you're riding around the resort, swing by, check out the plaque, take a run down Bobby's, and yeah. So, but yeah, really appreciate you guys sitting down.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you both as well.
Yep.